When you talk about standards in storage, we invariably talk about SNIA. Here with the next keynote on shifting trends in storage, enabling opportunities in standards and open communities is Rochelle Alvarez, SNIA board member, storage management architect at SNIA and Intel. Over to you, Rochelle.
Thank you. Good morning and good afternoon. I'm Rochelle Alvarez. I'm a storage technology enablement architect with Intel, and I have a long history working with industry standards organizations. I currently sit on the board of directors for the Storage Networking Industry Association, or SNIA, and I've worked across many different aspects of storage technologies, but my primary focus has always been around data center and ecosystem manageability. With rapidly changing technologies and an increasing variety of options, managing both the data and storage systems has been a continual challenge. Figuring out how to manage your data, your storage, keep track of new technologies, and when to integrate them into your environment, and doing that effectively and efficiently is a never-ending challenge. So there are many new and emerging technologies in the storage space. New application models, driving data and storage segmentation, and other technical dimensions that we could spend time to look at. But since we only have a few minutes, I'm going to focus in on a few examples of some recent and emerging storage technologies, and then talk about how standards, industry consortiums, and open communities can, and in fact are, working together to accelerate adoption of these new technologies by partnering together. Let's take a look at some of the bigger trends. Note that these are affecting customers of all sizes, from SMB through enterprise data centers. First, cloud storage. While cloud storage has been around for several years, this includes all cloud technologies, from private clouds to hybrid clouds to public clouds. Today, there is an acceleration of customers planning the adoption of public cloud storage, particularly for file share storage type applications. I love data, so I've pulled some for you here. This particular survey source is provided at the bottom. But you can see from this particular survey that customers are predicting a large increase in cloud usage, up to a 20% increase in just the span of 2 years. Okay, now let's look at trends in SSDs. There are several different transitions happening here. There are shifts in technology type, from SATA to SAS to NVMe, and shifts in configuration usage. Some configurations will shift technologies much faster than others. So over again, the next couple of years, there will be a big shift, and you've seen this already happen a lot in the pandemic, has accelerated this in the drive for more desktops and laptop space, but a big shift in the storage usage from SATA to SAS SSDs. So we can really expect to see SSDs dominate the desktop environments, and again, largely SAS SSDs in the next few years. For server storage, this shift is also happening, but there's also the inclusion of NVMe SSDs for high performance configurations. For these, you may actually see a tiered approach between hard drive, SAS SSDs, and NVMe SSDs as appropriate, although likely not all three in the same configuration. For external storage, there's much of the same shift, although even more accelerated. There's already a strong demand for all-flash arrays, and this will continue to deliver higher performance configuration as customers move to deliver NVMe SSD-based arrays. Again, looking at the customer planning numbers, you can see a marked increase in SAS SSDs at 22%, with an even greater increase at 26% for NVMe. All right, now let's look at another emerging area, persistent memory. We talked already about some of the use cases driving tiered configurations. Some of these same underlying concerns, albeit up the stack a bit, are driving adoption of persistent memory, where customers are planning anywhere from a 12 to 20% increased adoption over the next couple of years. Okay, I've talked briefly about 3 of the trends in the storage industry today. Each one of these is having a huge impact on how customers are building their storage environments and also how they're managing their data. However, these are actually some pretty well-known technologies that have been around a little while and have been in the public eye for many years. So let's take a quick look at some other areas of interest. There are many different technologies of interest to the storage industry. Some are nascent areas, such as computational storage, and some are adding standardization to existing technologies, like a resurgent interest in standardized storage fabric management. We have a presentation in this SNIA track today talking a little bit more about that one, so please tune in if you're interested in that area. There are also layered storage applications pushing for more standardization. This includes everything from blockchain to data accelerator interfaces to storage applications for using memory-based fabrics. With all of these and more new and divergent technologies, how do industry associations like the SNIA influence these technologies and accelerate adoption? First, let's take a look at the breadth of the technology that SNIA covers. SNIA, for a little background, is a combined standards development organization and trade association. That means it does both standards technical development as well as vendor-neutral technology education and promotion. As you can see here, SNIA's coverage of storage technologies is extremely broad, from the development of specifications for physical connectors used by all types of storage devices and interconnected devices to cloud storage, to persistent memory, and computational storage. Then there are technologies that support the others. Network storage, working across any type of network technology. Green storage, which is developing programs and specs like the SNIA Emerald program, and works with the EPA to develop Energy Star for storage requirements. And of course, near and dear to my heart, storage management. Manageability is a required component of every technology. We're developing the SNIA Swordfish specification in this space. And then last but not least, of course, security and privacy is another critical area. These are some of the elements of SNIA, but these are strengthened through alliances with other standards development organizations, consortiums, and open communities. We can't do it alone. These come in several forms. So associations, trade associations, such as the SCSI Trade Association and the Fiber Channel Industry Association, help promote base underlying technologies across the industry. Then we have some key management alliances. With DMTF, we have jointly developed multiple management standards and frameworks over many, many years. And now with NVM Express, we have work in multiple areas as well. In manageability, partnering to incorporate NVMe and NVMe-OF into storage and data center management, as well as working on emerging technologies such as computational storage. We also have partnerships like working with the Green Grid to direct green storage applications to the data center. With the new CXL consortium, we're partnering to develop and refine the application of CXL technology to persistent memory technology, such as accelerating the enablement of key value add like pooled persistent memory with this combined technology. Moving on to the open communities space, we have partnerships with groups like the Open Compute Project that are identifying needed use cases and bringing those into SNIA to ensure that the specifications that we build are in place and cover those use cases. Similarly, the Open Fabrics Alliance, SNIA is working with OFA identified use cases to ensure that the SNIA Swordfish spec, as well as the DMTF Redfish spec, so it's a three-way alliance agreement here, covers the target use cases and partners with other groups to deliver comprehensive education on those technologies. That brings us to SODA. Working very much in the same fashion, SODA orchestration management of storage identifies key use cases, and partnering with SNIA can ensure that the required functionality is available, again, in the Swordfish spec, and therefore in implementations. As you can see, the key to the partnerships between the standards organizations and the open communities is to leverage the open community's focus on identifying key use cases and then partnering with the groups developing the specifications and standards to ensure that those use cases are covered in those corresponding standards. This is how we accomplish our joint goals, accelerating the development of new technologies and helping drive adoption by working together. Thanks all for attending. I would encourage you to check out all the presentations in the SNIA track. We will kick it off with discussions around the latest in storage management, then move on to computational storage, followed by security topics, and then wrapping up for the rest of the day with persistent memory. There will be Q&A sessions available as well, so be sure to capture your questions for those sessions specifically.
As always, Richelle, thank you so much. That was a quick and incisive talk on the SNIA board and what we do with SNIA. And we're very glad to be collaborating with SNIA going forward with the standards. If there are any questions, we have some time to take a few. If not, as Richelle has mentioned, we will be having a parallel SNIA track where you can ask your questions directly in the sessions there. I believe we don't have any questions at the moment, but thank you so much, Richelle. It's always a pleasure having you on, and it was great to hear you again. And we shall see you at the SNIA sessions.
Thank you.
All right, with that, I would like to end the session, and we can now move to the next keynote session, and that is going to be the keynote by our gold sponsor, Scality, and that's going to be by Paul Special, Chief Product Officer, who's going to be speaking on multi-cloud data management in practical usage. Over to the next session, please. Thank you.